Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat, honorable colleague, distinguished sponsor. Mr. Speaker, my questions will pertain to the national government subsidy to PhilHealth. I have taken into account the testimonies of both the Department of Finance and PhilHealth in formulating my questions, and I'm also taking this opportunity to direct my inquiries to the DBM based on the testimonies of the aforementioned agencies. When we passed the Universal Health Care Act, we did not merely make a promise of access. We made a commitment of equity. At the heart of this commitment lies the strategic use of pooled funds to finance the universal health care. PhilHealth sources of financing include the premium contributions of direct contributors, national government subsidy from sin tax revenues, the 50% share of the national government from the income of PAGCOR, the 40% PCSO net charity fund, and the interest income of PhilHealth, which transforms fragmented financing into a unified lifeline for every Filipino. Ang tanong ko lamang po, una, ano po ang nagko-constitute ng national subsidy para sa PhilHealth? Ito po ba yung sin taxes? Pwede po ba natin isa-isahin kung ano ang pinanggagalingan ng sin taxes na may kinalaman po doon sa UHC, particularly yung sa government subsidy to PhilHealth for the NHIP?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, in terms of the appropriations provision for the UHC, the amount necessary to implement the act shall be sourced from the following. The total incremental sin tax collections as provided for in RA number 10351, 50% of the national government share from the income of PAGCOR, 40% of the charity fund, net of documentary stamp tax payments, premium contributions to members, annual appropriations of the DOH included in the GAA, and the national government subsidy to PhilHealth included in the GAA. Yun po yung breakdown.
Yes, distinguished sponsor, thank you. But I'm asking about the specifics of the sin taxes. The Universal Healthcare Law was passed in 2019. In 2020, we passed, if I'm not mistaken, 2020, we passed RA 11346. And then 2 years after, we passed RA 11467. Both of these have something to do with the sin taxes provided for in the UHC law. So, pwede po ba nating isa-isahin itong source ng PhilHealth para sa national government subsidy?
Mr. Speaker, with regard to the disaggregation under the sin taxes, so for tobacco, 80% of the government share would go to PhilHealth. For HTP and vapor products, 60% of the government share will go towards UHC. For alcohol, 60% of the government share will go to the UHC. For sweetened beverages, 80% of the government share will go to PhilHealth.
Maraming salamat po, distinguished sponsor. So mula po 2021, magkano po ang due to PhilHealth based on the earmarks ng mga batas na ito? Pwede rin po ba nating isa-isahin mula 2021 hanggang 2025?
Mr. Speaker, from 2022 to 2026, the total revenue share that would be attributed to PhilHealth would be 376,417,305,000.
Okay po. 376.42 billion. Round off na po natin, yan po yung figure na binigay ng DOF. But that's for mula 2022 to 2026 po yan. Hinahanap ko pa rin po sana yung 2021. Anyway, sige po, maaari yun po bang maisubmit na lang yung figure ng 2021 kung meron po kayo?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, for 2021, wala po. That is a transitory period in the implementation of the law. Hence, there is no share directed to PhilHealth in year 2021.
Okay po, thank you. Doon po sa share na yon, maaari po ba na ako namang malaman magkano po ang SARO on a yearly basis simula 2022 po? Magkano ang SARO? Magkano po ang NCA? For 2022, 23, 24, and 25.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, we are working on getting the specific SAROs since 2022. But what we can provide our distinguished colleague right now would be the total of the amounts indicated in the GAA. So from 2021 to 2026, the total would be 340.41 billion.
Including the 2026 proposed, is that right?
That includes the 2026 proposed less the Bar C addition of the 60 billion pesos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Based from the testimony of PhilHealth, ito naman po, kung wala pong figure ang DBM, ito po ang figure ng PhilHealth sa actual na natanggap po nila. NCA po ito, ano? For 2021, 71.292 billion. For 2022, 79.93 billion. Yung mga SARO po niyan, halos 80. Walang masyadong diferensya, no? For 2023, the SARO was 78.8 billion, but the NCA was 50.92 billion. For 2024, the SARO was 40.2, but the NCA was 9.3. And then for 2025, 0 po. Tama? Tama po, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, yes, we confirm that those are the NCA amount.
Okay po.
For 2023 and 2024, wala po sa 2025.
So pagbabanggiin po natin the SARO amount versus the NCA amount, magkano po ang pakulangan ng DBM sa PhilHealth mula 2021 to 2025 pagdating dito po sa national government subsidy galing sa sin taxes?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, since 2023, the total amount for the unfunded SARO due to PhilHealth would be 59 billion pesos.
59 billion. For 2025, balikan ko lamang po, magkano po yung sin tax collection due to PhilHealth sa record po ninyo? 69.8 po ba?
That is correct, Mr.
Okay.
Speaker, my distinguished colleague.
So since wala pong allocation for PhilHealth in 2025, parang pwede po nating masabi, 69.8 po ang due uli sa PhilHealth. Tama po ba?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, if we would hit the amounts against each other, meaning the revenue share due to PhilHealth versus the released SAROS, ang kulang po ay roughly 36 billion because the revenue share due to PhilHealth total 376 billion and the total for expenditures total 340 billion. But I recognize the point of our distinguished colleague. It's because there's a shortfall of the SARO versus the NCA. So we have to add that. I'll request for a few seconds lang po to compute that.
Pwede rin po bang stop yung clock ko, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, in terms of the deficiency, roughly amounting to 59 billion yung pagkakaiba po sa SARO versus yung NCA na na-release. Actually po, may dahilan po kung bakit may ganun pong pagkakaiba sa pagitan noong SARO and the NCA. It's because it's a cash management strategy on the part of the DBM because as per their evaluation, as of end of 2025, PhilHealth still has about 34 billion in cash just stored within PhilHealth. So as a matter of cash management strategy, hindi po muna release ng PhilHealth. But the PhilHealth says that if DBM says that if PhilHealth is able to show that they will be able to increase the benefits due to the patients, they will release the deficit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor. I will get to that later on. Pag-usapan po natin uli yan. Gusto ko lang pong mag-reconcile lang tayo kung magkano po ang kakulangan sa PhilHealth, no? Mamaya, hindi ko na po kukunin. Pa-advance ko na lang po. Nais ko po sanang makuha yung total. Mag-proceed muna po ako sa next question ko. Yung sa PAGCOR naman po at PCSO, maaari ko po bang malaman kung meron na kayong na-release? Hindi po SARO, because I understand merong dalawang SARO, 2023, 2024. Ang gusto ko pong malaman sana kung may actual cash disbursement simula nang nainak ang UHC, tsaka yung 2 years na period na yon, simula 2021, kung magkano na po ang napunta sa PhilHealth, kasi sa figure po ng DOF, ang kakulangan ang dapat daw pong napunta sa PhilHealth from PCSO is 8.8 billion. Ang dapat naman po daw nakuha ng, kung susumahin mo daw, ay 113 billion. Ang kailangan ma-deposito sa PhilHealth based sa PAGCOR and PCSO. Do you confirm this figure, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, there may be a little bit of a discrepancy in terms of the figures. Perhaps it's the timing when the figures were pulled out. What we have here on the part of the DBM would be the balances as of June 2025. So as of June 2025 po, from PAGCOR, there would be a total of 98.1 billion, and for PCSO, a total of 7.5 billion pesos. So totaling 105.7 billion.
Thank you po, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Maaari ko po bang malaman bakit hanggang ngayon wala pang naidideposito or nare-release sa PhilHealth kahit 5? Tama po, kahit 5. When Section 37 of RA 11223 specifically provides that at the end of each quarter, dapat po nare-remit yan sa PhilHealth.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, as to why there is no NCA yet for the SARO issued for the implementation of the benefit package improvement within PhilHealth, while the PhilHealth requested for the issuance of the corresponding NCAs for the released SAROs, the previous request lodged to the DBM lacks supporting documents as follows. First, list of due and demandable accounts payable, or the LDDAP. Second, the latest financial accountability report, FAR number 4. Third will be the latest financial statements showing the corporation's cash position. Fourth would be the actual billing signed by the authorized personnel of the PhilHealth. Fifth would be a copy of the PhilHealth's undertaking to undergo a third-party review of its actuarial projections and benefit packages. And lastly, copies of board resolution approving the increase of PhilHealth's benefit packages. So a lot of these hinge on the fact that the supporting documents proving that they will expand their benefit packages has not been provided by PhilHealth to the DBM.
Saan po nanggagaling yan? Ano pong basis yan? Iyan po ba yung... Maaari po bang malaman kung ano ang basis ng mga requirements na yan?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, this is based on the Citizens Charter of DBM.
Okay, thank you po. The legislative intent of the UHC Act is to pool funds, including those from the PAGCOR and PhilHealth, of PCSO, to sustainably finance PhilHealth benefits. This fund pooling mechanism is the cornerstone of the law. How does DBM justify this rerouting from the DOF to the Bureau of Treasury? Is this a part of the housekeeping mandate of the DBM, or does it constitute impoundment in violation of the law's clear directive?
Honorable Interpolator, can you please wrap up after this answer? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, we can categorically say that this is not tantamount to impounding. Essentially, what happens po is that the share from PCSO and PAGCOR would need to go to BTR so that it can comprise part of the general fund, which is then appropriated. In the law, the requirement, as per Section 37B and C of RA 11223, the funds of PCSO and PAGCOR should be transferred quarterly. And that happens now. So those funds are transferred quarterly to the Bureau of Treasury. But these funds are not transferred quarterly to PhilHealth because of this provision. The amount necessary to implement the provisions of this act shall be included in the GAA and shall be appropriated under the DOH and national government subsidy to PhilHealth. So, because of that, nagkakaroon lang po ng timing discrepancy, but this is not tantamount to impounding po.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor. So, i-wrap up ko na lamang po. Ang tanong ko na lang po, sa pagkakaalam po ng DBM, total na po lahat, magkano po dapat ang dues dapat nilang ibigay sa PhilHealth? Simula nung na-enact yung UHC law and considering all the requirements ng fund pooling mechanism.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, perhaps before I give the figures, it's important to align on what the levels are. So, ang babanggitin ko po would pertain to the total amount due to PhilHealth that accounted for by the SAROS that have already been released. So, we'll talk about the totals with regard to SAROS, not NCA, if that's okay.
Mr. Speaker, I have little time left. Can I just have a copy of that so that I can still pursue some of my questions?
Okay. So, very quickly po, please do not count it towards the time of my distinguished colleague. This is a very...
I'm counting my time, hindi po nasa-stop.
This is a very important point to raise. So, hopefully, please give our colleague a few more minutes in addition. So, in terms of the SARO, revenue share versus the expenditures released the SARO, ang kulang na lang po would be the 36 billion on that side. Yun po yung sa syntax. Yun po yung nabanggit ko kanina na difference between the 376.4 billion due to PhilHealth and the SARO releases of 340.4 billion. On the part of PAGCOR and PCSO, the deficit would be around 63.3 billion. That is because out of the 105.6 billion due to PhilHealth from PAGCOR and PCSO, as per the UHC Act, meron na pong dalawang SARO releases. One at 21.17 billion and another at 21.17 billion. So, the total po would be 36 plus 63. So, roughly 99 billion pesos po.
Pero, Mr. Speaker, linawin ko lang po, but SARO pa lang po yun ha, SARO. Wala pang actual release. So, kung pag-uusapan po natin, collectibles pala ng PhilHealth nakalagay po sa kanila kasi SARO, pero wala pa po talaga silang natatanggap. Tama po ba?
Again po, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, it's because of the cash position of PhilHealth. So, as per the evaluation of DBM, PhilHealth has enough cash flows that would not necessitate the release of the NCAs. But then again, if they are able to provide the documents as enumerated earlier, the DBM will be able to release the deficit between the SAROS and the NCA.
So, is it correct to assume that the reason why the DBM is under-allocating funds for PhilHealth because it believes there is a perception that there is excess funds. Is that correct?
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, actually po, it's not a perception. There is about 35 billion in, that's the estimate cash available, as in actual cash flows, not even including the reserves. There's about 35 billion balance in the cash position of PhilHealth as of end of 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague. Assuming po for the sake of argument that PhilHealth has sufficient funds, may excess po, I think this is not and should not be a justification to lower the allocation by the national government. This representation is of the position that the law itself has a mechanism, meaning RA 11223 has a mechanism in place on how and where to use excess funds. Section 11 of the UHC law provides that PhilHealth shall set aside a portion of its accumulated revenues not needed to meet the cost of the current year's expenditures as reserve funds. The section further provides that PhilHealth's reserve funds shall be used to increase the program benefits and to decrease members' contribution when they exceed the 2-year expenditure ceiling. So nakapaloob po sa ating batas na kung sakali na mayroong sobrang pondo, ito ay gagamitin sa pagpapaganda ng benepisyo at para ibaba po ang kontribusyon na binabayaran ng bawat miyembro. Hindi po natin maikakaila na ang bawat piso ay mahalaga sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Kaya po ang pagbaba ng kontribusyon na binabayaran o kinakaltas sa mga miyembro ay tunay na nakakagaan sa pasanin ng ating mga kababayan. So, yun po ang pinupunto ko. The law has a mechanism. It's not for the DBM to say na ito dahil may excess kayo, kaya hindi namin sa inyo ibibigay. Kasi malinaw naman po doon sa batas na kapag may excess ang PhilHealth, dito po gagawin. Dito ilalagay at ito ang gagawin.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague, I have been very vocal about this with regard to PhilHealth. But perhaps yun po kasi siguro yung predicate na hindi po nasa-satisfy na PhilHealth. As mentioned in the law, the excess revenues should go towards increasing the benefits packages and reducing the contributions. But unfortunately, PhilHealth has not been doing that. So, yun po, I have been very, very vocal about this. My apologies po to my distinguished colleague, but that is the reason. Siguro kung mapakita po sa atin ng PhilHealth that they are utilizing the excess funds to improve the benefits package and to reducing the contributions, parang we will be more inclined to provide those amounts to them. But given that they're not doing that, yun po, medyo titignan po talaga at tatanungin natin anong ginagawa po ng PhilHealth doon po sa excess cash flows nila as well as their hundreds of billions in reserves. Yun na po, very quickly. Sorry po.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me just point, siguro po suggestion ko na lang, baka pwedeng umupo ang DBM, ang DOF, ang PhilHealth, pag-usapan po ito because yung financing po ng PhilHealth, kailangan may predictability. Importante po yung predictability. Ano po? So kapag hindi alam ng PhilHealth kung magkano talaga ang tatanggapin nila, hindi natin sila mapupush, gawin nyo to, kasi hindi nga po nila alam kung magkano ang dadating sa kanilang pera. On the part of the DBM, kung maa-assure nyo sila na ibibigay ninyo ang pera, mas mapipredict po nila yung mga gastusin para sa benepisyo na kailangan ng mga miyembro. So, importante din po yung sustainability aside from predictability. Dapat po, hindi lang tinitignan natin yung para sa ngayong taon, yung para sa susunod na taon at sa mga susunod pang taon. Yan po ang pinanggalingan natin before UHC law. Kaya hindi po magawa ng PhilHealth na mag-increase ng benepisyo dahil hindi po nila ma-determine kung ilan ang papasok sa kanilang pera. Ang punto ko pa pong gustong sabihin, through the years after the UHC, pataas po ang kontribusyon ng mga direct contributors at pag mapapansin nyo, pababa naman po ng pababa ang national government subsidy. Ano po? naiintindihan po natin yung ang social solidarity principle. Tumutulong po tayo para mapatakbo natin ang ating ang PhilHealth. Nagtutulungan tayo, nag-aambagan tayo. Pero wag po sana natin iparamdam sa mga direct contributors who have contributed around 800 billion pesos already since the enactment of the UHC law na sila na lang ang tapasan ng gastusin ng PhilHealth. Yun lamang po ang gusto kong puntuhin na sana po kung sumobra ang pera ng PhilHealth, na ibawasan natin ang members' contribution, ang premium rates. Kasi yan po ang sinasabi ng batas. If I may share, the version of the UHC law which we passed in 2019, at least for the House version, we did not provide for the increase in members' contribution because we wanted PhilHealth to make adjustments based on actuarial studies. Unfortunately, it was the Senate's proposal that prevailed, so that's why we have now the table that we are following the one with the ceiling and the floor na hanggang 5%. Kung House lang pong version na sunod, hanggang 3% lang yun because we were cognizant of the fact that PhilHealth has institutional capacity problems at that time. But since nandiyan na po yan, let's be fair doon sa mga direct contributors. Pwede naman po natin, pwedeng nagko-cooperate sila, tumutulong sila, pero sana po hindi naman sa kanila mapasa ang burden. So, in the end, Mr. Speaker, bilang pangwakas, allow me to state that withholding and under-allocating of the funds to PhilHealth while increasing the burden on direct contributors, workers, employers, ordinary Filipinos is not just fiscally unsound. It is morally indefensible. The government cannot shirk its duty to co-finance PhilHealth and leave the financing to those least able to bear it. If we allow this to stand, we risk hollowing out the very foundation of the universal health care. We must ask, are we building a health system for all or merely balancing books at the expense of the sick, the poor, and the direct contributors? Are we betraying the equity promise of the universal health care? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, and to the DBM. Good evening po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, to my distinguished colleague. Siguro po, akin lang po sigurong isasagot doon. The important question is, where is PhilHealth allocating their excess cash and their cash reserves? There are roughly po, may 350 billion pesos po na cash reserve, na fund reserves ang PhilHealth. So, hopefully, they're using that to lower the contributions from direct contributors. So, yun po siguro ang pinakamahalagang tanong sa PhilHealth. I belabored this point when I made my interpellation to PhilHealth and the DOH. Please, PhilHealth, use your funding reserves, use the additional subsidies that are given by the government to do two things. First, to improve the benefits package. Second, to settle your accountabilities. And third, tatlo po pala, to lower the premium for direct contributors. Maraming salamat po.